found out the hard way when it comes to the entitlement of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Yeah, they found out the hard way. Everything that is happening in whatever African country you're coming from affects another African country. Yeah, it affects the entire continent. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's long stay in power is not only a disservice to Ugandans, but to the entire East African community. And everything that we speak on this man, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and his audacity and entitlement towards everything that is valuable on this African continent. People think that we are just being ungrateful. This man is the one who liberated Uganda. This is farther from the truth than you can ever imagine. It is farther from the truth. There are so many people who wash their clothes. Yes, they are clean, and then they put them in the mud. Can you be grateful to such people? While there must have been some substance in regards to the governments that Yoweri Kaguta Museveni overthrew, what he did was wash clothes and put them straight in the mud. And for 40 years, we have been condemned to the kind of captivity that might not require visible chains on us, but our mindsets have been held in some bit of a lamp whereby we cannot function beyond what our potential as Ugandans suggests in regards to even the resources that Uganda has as a country, operating below what we can potentially achieve. If only this man was not encroaching on almost every resource in Uganda and putting it under the umbrella of his family, of his children and his grandchildren. Why am I saying this? Well, before I get into how Kenyans have found out that this man is so entitled, allow me to remind you to subscribe. Yeah, it is the time for you to subscribe. We are fast moving towards 1,000 subscribers. This is the Uganda Awakening, and this channel exists to reveal how courageous Ugandans are in facing up with the dictatorship of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, sharing their political opinion online, joining the protest, as well as showing their support to the leading party right now, the National Unity Platform, led by Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Bobi Wine, the man I believe was so crucial in giving every Uganda a chance to see Museveni for who he is, and not just see him for who he is, but to also take action and take responsibility, because the affairs of our country, if they are not taken care of through acknowledgement of our power, people power, then we might as well just witness our country go down the drain under the leadership of this tyrannical Museveni government. Yeah. So let me get into why Kenyans are finding out the hard way. So this man had the audacity of stating that the Indian Ocean belongs to him. He was also giving possibly genuine frustrations as to why there has not been an agreement that gives Uganda adequate access to the Indian Ocean. And being landlocked, I can understand that. In school, we studied about this stuff. The disadvantages of being a landlocked country. We know that having no access to the sea gives us a tall order in terms of international trade. That is so important to acknowledge. And I'm not here to bash Museveni on that point. His frustrations of not having a genuine agreement with Kenya to have access to the Indian Ocean could be real. But why has it been 40 years and this man has fallen short despite Kenya changing government after government? Why has it been so hard? There is a time where you have to acknowledge that it is not a problem of everyone, but it is a you problem. The older I have gotten, I have actually understood that most of the problems that I had with people in my life, some of whom I no longer have contact with, I've had to acknowledge that in numerous situations, the common problem was me. Yeah, and I am not going to hide from that. I have had to acknowledge that there are times that I overreacted about situations and lost some good people. The older you get, you have to get to that point and understand, yeah, there are some particular situations where you could have handled circumstances a lot better than you did. And Museveni has had the chance of doing business with numerous Kenyan presidents. Why is he still sharing frustrations of not having a genuine trade agreement between Uganda and Kenya for him to have access to the Indian Ocean? You see, every problem Museveni faces, he prefers a military solution. A military solution. Patronizing people, making them feel that they're inferior to him. When someone has those kinds of negotiation skills, it makes people feel very much suspicious around him. Could it be that Kenyans have realized over time that if we give this man an inch, he's going to take a mile? Could it be the reason as to why we don't have a genuine access to the Indian Ocean that is satisfactory for both sides, especially when it comes to trade? Could it be the reason? If there is any person to blame in this situation, I insist it has to be Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. You can't have a chance of negotiating with a country for 40 years with different presidents that we have never really had such animosity with, and you still are out here crying to the point that you're claiming the ocean. When you say these, Kenyans are not the only people that have access to the Indian Ocean. So the entire ocean belongs to you. Kenyans have responded, and it's hilarious because, of course, the big mouth son of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, I guess in some capacity due to the past threats towards Kenya and how he suggested that it would take him just a few days to capture Nairobi, have responded with memes, AI-generated images. They decided to put Muhoozi in a casket. They put him in a dress. They are outraged about these remarks to the point that they are not leaving any stone unturned when it comes to clowning this first son of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And while so many analysts have come out to say that, yeah, Museveni's remarks are not really about intimidating Kenya and suggesting that the last resort will be going to war with Kenya. No, he was just really sharing his frustrations about the difficulty he has had as a Ugandan president in terms of a trade agreement that gives Uganda adequate access to the sea. This can only be comparable to a kid throwing his toys out of a pram. Yeah, it can only be comparable to a kid throwing his toys out of a pram. What do you think about this? Kenyans, let me know what you think. Are you scared of Uganda taking over your country through the CDF? I would like to hear your thoughts, but it is hilarious. Let me try to find out some of the quotes, some of the tweets. So, yeah. Muhoozi Kainerugaba threatens to abduct and sue those who are putting him in a coffin. People reply with him in a miniskirt instead. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba should know people. Start here. People come up with more memes. The way they roasted our general, I'm sure, is only feared in Kampala. Abduct and sue. Can you see the drama? Huku Uma, the general still blocked you. At this rate, this idiot will arrest the whole world. First, let him get a shorter name. Even his father's name is easier to pronounce. Dictators fear death, while all they do is send their people there. Weird contradictions. Yeah, I think Muhoozi Kainerugaba found out what it means messing with Kenyans, threatening to attack them because of his father's remarks. That is crazy. That is crazy, crazy business. We are living in very, very unprecedented times. I didn't know that one day I'll see a time and day where Kenyans will offend Muhoozi to the point that he wants to now start abducting Kenyans from Nairobi. That is incredibly insane. But who knows? Maybe he could pull it off. Remember, Besigye was snatched from Nairobi to Uganda. Musevenism is spreading across East Africa, and Kenyans, you must remember this statement. I'm going to close this video by saying, remember when Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu said that protect your constitution before it is too weak to protect you? Remember that? Yeah. Let me know what you think about Museveni's entitlement towards the Indian Ocean. And we will talk soon, guys. Cheers.